Hi friends, I am Jitendra. Today we are going to see how to debug your Mule application. Okay, Mule provide a visual debugger to debug your application. Let me list down some of the characteristics of the Mule visual debugger. So Mules comes with a debugger that is known as a Mule visual debugger. Okay. The second thing, it listens on port 6666 by default. Make sure your port 666 is not blocked by firewall or any antivirus. Okay, the Mule Visual Debugger is fully integrated with Mule Anypoint Studio. What are the various options available? You can set breakpoints, terminate breakpoints, you can resume breakpoints, you can mute breakpoints, okay, and you can evaluate mule expression. Fine. These are the various features or operations available. We will going to see in demo. So first thing, I will going to create an empty application. I will say file, new mule project. I will say debug mule app. For runtime, I will keep it 3.8. You can select depending on your requirement, as there can be a multiple runtime in your environment, and say finish. Okay, once I will say finish, it will create an empty application for you. So this is the source main app. You can see a debug mule app.xml. So we will going to start designing our flow. I will say I want HTTP listener. I will drag and drop HTTP listener. Let me configure HTTP listener. So under connector configuration, I will click on this add button. I will keep all setting as a default. I will say OK. For path, I will give debug. For allow method, I will say get. Okay. Now I will say logger. I will drag and drop logger. And finally, I will say set payload. Okay. So what I will say, I want to send response back as a debug completed. Okay. Let me save the application. What I will do, I can set a toggle breakpoint here. So say toggle breakpoint. Let me right click on the canvas and say debug project debug mule app. Once I will do that, it will ask to confirm perspective switch. So say yes. So it will switch to the debug mode. So let me explain you what are the things here. So here we have at the top mule debugger. Here you will going to see various things. I'm going to see one. I will start debugger. It's a mute breakpoint. Mute breakpoint is like temporarily disallow your mule debugger. Okay, so it will, okay, so like if you have set two breakpoint, okay, in first breakpoint if you click on the mute breakpoint, what it will do, it will not going to execute any breakpoint. Okay, it will be temporarily disallow the remaining breakpoints in the flow. Here you can see terminate, so you can terminate your debugger. Here you can evaluate your mule expression. You can go to next processor, run to processor. Okay, if you want to go to next step, click on this next processor. Like that, if you want to resume, you can click on resume. Directly it will resume the flow. Okay, that's how you can do that. So let me do one thing. I have an Let me remove this. Okay, so what I will do, I will say I will copy this URL. I'll go to new, I will say control V. I will say send. Once I will say send, so you can see like no response is coming back. Here you can see like dash dash dash. Your control has been came here. At the top you can see various property available with your message, like payload, like what is the UID version, what is the data type. On this side, you can see all the inbound variable, HTTP listener path, HTTP method, HTTP query params, variables, if any, outbound variable, session variable, record variable, anything. Okay. So let me do one thing. So I want to read some of the inbound property. I want to evaluate what are the inbound property associated with message. So go to evaluate expression, click here, and here you can say message dot inbound, say properties, square bracket. Now I will say http dot method. So I want to check what is the http method and press enter. So see, it will give a value. It will say your method with the inbound message is get. Now I want to read a query parameter. So I have passed on query parameter name equals to Jitendra. So what I can do, I again go to evaluate expression. I can say message dot inbound properties, square bracket, say http dot query dot params, then enter. So you can see, so query param, see name equals to Jitendra. So it will show you the query param associated. Now I want to see http listener path. Click here. Wait, I can say http listener dot path, listener dot path. No. Press enter. You can see your path is debug. So what path we have passed? Debug. This is how you can read your inbound property available with a message. Now I want to go to the next step. Here you can see there is a no flow variable, no session variable, anything. If you want to go to next step, you can go using this next processor. So next processor, it will complete your flow. You can see you got a response back, debug completed. Now what I will do, I will stop the debug for time being. Okay, let me check console and I will switch back to Mule design. Let me remove the breakpoint for some time. Okay, now what I will do, I will set some variable, flow variable. Here what I can do, let me set some flow variable. I will say set variable. I can say name. Here I can say message dot inbound dot http query params. What is query param? Name. Fine. This is my session variable. No, sorry, flow variable. Let me set the session variable. Here I will set a destination. Let me pass to destination. I can say message dot inbound properties dot http query param dot destination. I have set two query params. Now I am passing name. I will also pass destination equals to Mumbai. Fine. I will pass this parameter. Let me do one thing. I will again set a toggle breakpoint. Now I will say right click, debug mule project. I will say OK. It will ask to confirm the perspective window. Let me press on the yes. Let me press on the yes. Let me press on the yes. Okay. Let me press on the yes. Okay. So what I can do, let me send the request. So you will say no response is coming back. You can see a debug is on the logger and check, is there any variable? No. Is there any output variable? No, no. So go to next step. Now let me check, is there any variable? Not yet. Okay, let me go to next step. You can see like, okay, there is a one flow variable, that is name, and value is Jitendra, but still there is a no session variable. Let me go to next processor. Okay, you should have seen the session variable also. This is how you can see the value passing through is each component. Okay, so let me do one thing. I will click on run to processor. Okay, run to processor will bring you to the end of the processor, end processor. So what I can do, I can say resume. So it will resume the flow. You should have been get a debug completed. Fine. So let me do one thing. I will again stop the debugging. Okay, let me switch to Mule design. Okay. So let me remove this toggle breakpoint. Let me set some of the property. Okay. Go to property. You can set property. I can say http dot status. A value I can say 200. Save it. Now I will set the breakpoint again here. I will say run project. Oh, sorry, I want to run in the debug mode. Let me stop again. I will say debug project. It will again ask you to the confirm perspective switch. Say yes. So let me send the message. You can see your debug. You can see the debugger is on logger. Now say next, 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 next. See, you can see in outbound. We have set the property. You can set that property in the outbound variable. Now you can click on the mute. Okay, I will show you mute after. You can click resume. Fine. Let me send one more message. Now there is one thing called run to processor. Click on this. Okay, it will. Okay, so it will move you to the next processor. Let me click here. Sorry, I have to click M7. Now I want to show you. If you want to terminate the instance, you can click here, or either you can click on the mute breakpoints. There is a no breakpoints to be mute. Okay, fine. So let's, because there is a no breakpoint in the further, so you cannot mute it. There should be a multiple breakpoints to mute the flow. Right. So this is how you can perform a debugging for your Mule application. Okay. If you like my video, just subscribe to it. Thanks for watching.